Welcome back, everybody, to the Talk Titans Racing League for the third tier of the TTRL series, and we're here tonight for the opening round of the season. We just had the sprint race a few moments ago, and we're here for the main event, the Grand Prix, here tonight. As we just had a very close qualifying session. Richie Chapper taking pole position by the narrowest of margins from Shane and Manic Memory. Those three guys separated by less than a tenth and a half, but from 4th down to 16th place, only 6/10 of a second separated 13 drivers in that range. Absolutely incredibly close qualifying session. The top three were about 4/10 clear of Berza, but then down to 16th place, 6/10 separating 4th to 16th, about a second separating the top 16. So yeah, very tight session indeed, and we're in for a treat here tonight in this race. Just going to check the audio's on. Yep, it's all good. All systems are go. So let's have a look, see what strategies people are on, what tyres have the drivers gone for. We see Richie Chapper, the pole sitter, the only one who's on the hard tyres, and what on earth is he doing here as we come through the final corner? Hopefully that's not a precursor to what's about to come here for Richie, but the only driver on the hard tyres, that's quite a ballsy move, because the hard tyre is considerably slower around this track. So it'd be interesting to see what Richie does for the rest of this race, and obviously he'll be hoping he doesn't get swallowed up by the pack, who are all going to be on much faster tyres in this first stint. But Richie putting it, or lining it up in the pole position grid slot. We've got Shane here in second place with Manic Memory and Berza on the second row. You've got Joe Louis and Jam on the third row, with Schumacher and Salates on the fourth row. TV Buzz and Jordan Hillier there lining up to round out the top 10. Ev the Legend, who had a pretty strong showing in the sprint race along with Dave, those two down in 11th and 12th places. So a little way off of where I'm sure they were expecting to qualify for the Grand Prix, but nonetheless a long way to go here in this one. Mexico City Grand Prix here at the Talk Titans Racing League for Tier 3, and it is lights out and we're underway. And it looks like Shane got a much better start than Richie, and in fact Richie got an absolute nightmare off of the line there, as he's already been passed there by Manic Memory as well. And in the meantime we can also see Berza's dropped down a few places here. Has got a horror show off of the line as well from Berza on the inside, but into turn one, Manic Memory swoops around the outside there of Shane up into the lead. Joe Louis has had a good start here, up into 4th place, trying to get the move done on the pole sitter. Goes a bit wide though, there's Joe, and Richie's going to hold on to 3rd place for the time being, as we see TV Buzz there moving ahead of Jam, although they're still side by side here, battling as they come down towards the chicane. And you've got the V-carb there on the inside trying to make that move there on TV Buzz. Jordan trying to keep it around the outside of Salates as well as they went through the chicane. And Salates there still side by side here with Jordan coming out of the corner, and in fact he's managed to complete that move there as Jordan Hillier. We see Dave there moving ahead of Ev the Legend as well, up into 10th place, but Manic Memory out the front has the gap at just over a second over Shane. You got Richie right behind these guys, as Harin's got a 3-second time penalty there for track limits, so that's going to be a bit of a pain here, because at this stage in the race, I mean, to get 3 warnings in 1 lap, you really do have to be doing something pretty special for that. But Immortal with a 3-second penalty for corner cutting as well, as we see side by side here between TV Buzz and Jam trying to hold it around the outside. We see the McLaren there, Immortal coming into the pits at the end of the first lap. Maybe it was a drive-through penalty, I'm not quite sure. Oh, he's got a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pits, and Immortal there rage quits at the end of the first lap, which I'm sure the admins aren't going to be too happy about. But Jordan nonetheless making the move here into turn 1, up the inside ahead of TV Buzz up into 7th place. And we go back to the leaders here, because Manic Memory's got the gap over a second to Shane, but Joe Louis attacking on Richie Chapper here as they fight it out over 3rd place at the moment in his early stages. And Jordan here is trying to put Jam under some pressure here for P6. Jordan, having made a quick start here in this one, started down in 10th place, but so far 3 places up on where he started this one, and looking to try and force the issue here with this V-carb, the Alpine here, which obviously had a horror show of a start in the sprint race on lap 1, but so far Jordan making amends here in this Grand Prix. But a long way to go here in this one before we can say that he's made up for it, but so far so good. Richie doing a good job here on these hard tyres as well, running in 3rd place, keeping Joe Louis at bay. I don't know for how much longer, because Joe Louis definitely going to fancy his chances down the start finish straight with a bit of DRS and some slipstream, and obviously faster tyres to boot. As here we come then through the final corner. Shane there with the fastest lap of the race is all over the back of Manic Memory, and this is going to be a move for the lead of the race as Shane here with DRS makes that move pretty easily. Joe Louis is going to try and replicate that feat here up the inside of Richie, and up into third place goes Joe Louis, and that is 2 moves there in the top 3 in one corner, as we can now see side by side here as Salate's there trying to make a move up the inside there of TV Buzz, and gets that one done up into 8th place. Dave here and Ev the Legend are side by side. Ev the Legend running ever so wide there onto the runoff area. Now Zainu might fancy to be able to get involved in this one, looking around the outside in towards the chicane, goes late on the brakes there to Zainu, and I think that one's going to be done. Still side by side here as he keeps himself there, and in fact Ev the Legend is not giving this one up lightly, as we see them contact there as they come into the hairpin now. And Zainu does complete that move there up into 11th place, and that is job done there for the Mercedes. Finally, for the Alpine, should I say, sorry. And finally there into P11, but back to the leaders because Shane and Manic Memory separated by half a second at the moment. Obviously Manic Memory got the DRS down the start finish straight on the previous lap, made that move into turn 1, but Shane certainly hasn't been able to shake Manic Memory off at the moment. He's still right there on the back of him as they come through the final corner. And he might be able to make a move here into turn 1, although saying that, he just dropped a little bit off of him through that final corner there. Shane seems to have a lot of pace through that stadium section. The final sector really seems to gain, because last lap he wasn't that close, but then made the move into turn 1. Clearly he was close enough to make the move with DRS by the time they got to turn 1. But Jam here looking up the inside of Schumacher, and very, very nearly replicated what we saw in the first race with Night Fury, who made that move obviously on Immortal in the first race. Immortal already out of this one, having had a horror show of an opening to this season, as we see Dave has moved out of TV Buzz there up into 9th place, and that is job done there for the Aston. Up into another points paying position, but Shane got the gap at just over a second here over Manic Memory. There's Joe and Richie battling over 3rd place. There's Schumacher Jam, Jordan with Salates, Dave, there's TV Buzz, Zainu there running 11th place at a Novel Grub with Berza ghosting at the moment. That might be an AI in the car potentially. Tiger Cutters with Ev the Legend down in P16, having come in for a fresh set of hard tyres and I assume some damage repairs. Night Fury having come in early on, as well as Harry Harin and Chapion. So those 4 guys all came in very early in this race for some sort of damage repairs by the looks of it. But out the front it is Shane leading the race by just under 2 seconds ahead of Manic Memory. There's Joe Louis, who's got Richie pretty close on him here as they now come down towards turn 1 once again. Harry Harin there with another 3-second penalty. He's racking him up like no tomorrow here as Jam is going to make the move up the inside here of Schumacher into turn 1. Schumacher once again closes the door and Jam sensibly there backs out. No, as I say that, he goes for a bit of a lunge there, and Alpine there of Jordan tried to swoop underneath him there, but in the end got caught out a little bit and had a bit of contact. Now Jordan's going to try and get the move done on Schumacher, but he's too far back going into the chicane, and Jordan would have hoped to have seamlessly swooped through there, but in the end got caught out a little bit. I think got caught up in a bit of contact, had to back out ever so slightly, and wasn't able to make 2 moves there, only made the 1 move there on Jam. But Jam now coming under pressure here from Salates. You got Dave and TV Buzz right there with these guys as well in this train of cars, and we're seeing a heck of a battle here for 5th place, all the way from 5th down to 10th place here. 6 cars in the line at the moment as we see Manic Memory with a 3-second penalty there for track limits, and we see Joe Louis trying to pull up onto the back of him here, but is coming under more pressure from behind in the shape of Richie, whose hard tyres are now going to be starting to just come into play a little bit here. As this race goes on, they're certainly going to be feeling a bit more lively compared to the mediums, as we see Manic Memory coming into the pits at the end of lap 5. So coming in for a very early stop here is Manic Memory. Let's see, I would assume hard tyres going on, as Noble Grub has got a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He's not the first here tonight to fall foul of that one. Manic Memory off and away, hard tyres going on, and he'll come out well ahead of Ev the Legend. So we'll have some clean air here for Manic Memory to try and slot in and do some bits over these next few laps. As Richie trying to pull up onto the back of Joe Louis here, we see Salates has moved out of Jam. And Jam here is dropped behind TV Buzz here as well, so Jam losing, well, quite a few places here on this lap so far. Dave's moved ahead as well, so Jam's had a bit of a nightmare here on lap 6 of the race so far. It's got Zainu now looking pretty racy here as well, and no damage there on that V-carb, no visible damage anyway, so looks like maybe Jam's just got himself into a bit of a rot here. Maybe Zainu's going to look to try and make this move, and is going to make the move quite comfortably here coming into the stadium section. So that is job done there for Zainu. Out in front, Shane has got a sizable lead over Joe Louis, and it's looking very, very reminiscent of the sprint race so far here for Shane. Barring any catastrophes here, I think this one might already be a bit beyond the rest of them here, as we see Richie making a move on Joe Louis into turn 1. And that is job done there for the Williams. So I think the only driver who could stop Shane in this one would probably be his teammate Richie. And Richie, obviously on the hard tyres, has that kind of strategic ace up his sleeve, so it could be a race on here between Shane and Richie. I've got to say, Richie's definitely not out of this one. We see a few drivers coming into the pits here at the end of lap 6. We've seen Manic Memory come in a lap ago. TV Buzz and Jam both came in on this lap, so did Dave. So a lot of drivers coming in early. Seems like the tyre wear is pretty hefty around here. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 3-stop tonight, but it's going to be minimum 2-stop for certain. I think 1-stoppers, basically, I don't think that's possible. Yeah, 1-stop, no. I can't see that. But anyway, Shane coming around to complete lap 7 of the race. His teammates closing in on him now on the hard tyres. We're sort of getting to that point in the stint now where the hards are probably going to be the quicker tyre than the mediums. So we are going to, I think, see Richie just gradually reeling that gap in. Richie's already extended the gap to Joe Louis to 2 seconds, so he's looking comfortable in that one. In the meantime, Jordan coming under pressure now from Salates as we're coming down towards turn 1, and the Ferrari there's up the inside. And is that going to be job done? I think it is. Jordan trying to hang it around the outside here, and he's still there. And Salates has to give him the space there, as he was entitled to some room. Jordan there's still on the outside and has managed to keep himself pretty close here to the Ferrari, but I think that Salates is going to have that one done down towards the chicane. He's had DRS as well because he was behind the detection point, and Salates does have that one done up into 4th place. Jordan now coming under a bit of pressure here from Schumacher in the Aston Martin behind him, but Jordan there couldn't hold on to that one any longer, as we see Harry Haran has retired from the race. So that is now 3 drivers out of the race. We're down to 17 runners here in this Mexico City Grand Prix here at the Torque Titans Tier 3 here tonight. But the gap's definitely coming down here at the front between Shane and Richie at the moment. Only 3 seconds between these two. Schumacher well within a second now of Jordan. Oh, as we see Schumacher just taking a bit of a hesitation there as he came around the final corner. Maybe thought of coming in and thought better of it. Jordan and Zainu both into the pits here at the end of lap 8. The rest of them appear to be continuing at the moment. The medium runners anyway. Tiger staying out, so yeah, I'd say about half of the drivers who started on the mediums are still out there, but a lot of them have come in for hard tyres, and they're going to be getting a big undercut because of that, for sure. As we see Dave there doing the fast step of the race on those fresh hard tyres. So yeah, the undercut's going to be pretty hefty here, I have to say, and that could be the difference between those who are 2-stopping and 3-stopping. Obviously the 3-stoppers will be overlapping with the 2-stoppers, but at the moment Shane is out the front with a 3-second gap over his teammate Richie, who's going to have the better tyres at this point in the stint. There's no doubt about that. But Shane will be on those hard tyres in the next stint. Richie's still got to do a stint on the mediums, but there's no doubt the pole sitter is closing in on his teammate. But the race 1 sprint race winner Shane is currently doing the bits at the moment. As you see, Manic Memory's got ahead of Berza on the fresh hard tyres up into 6th place. And Manic Memory's quietly just going about his business here. I think he's in a net lead at the moment. should, by the looks of it, on the timing screen, come out ahead of Shane and Richie. Obviously a 4-lap undercut. You know, those tyres are going to be somewhat older. And Berzer's trying to make the move up the inside there. Is that Berzer's AI? Because there is definitely ghosting going on there. Nonetheless, Manic Memory locking up into turn 1. Pushing it a little bit hard there. And locking up your tyres after 4 laps on them is never advisable. But at the moment, the top 2 are Shane and Richie. Their gap to Manic Memory is about 17 seconds at this point. So it's definitely going to be within striking distance. And that gap's only going to get less over the course of this stint, being on those much fresher tyres. But Shane at the moment coming through into the final corner once again. Is this going to be the lap that Shane comes in? Nope, not just yet. The gap stays at 2 seconds to Richie. Jordan on the fresh mediums is now really tackling TV Buzz here for 8th place. TV Buzz also on fresh tyres, fresh hard tyres. So Jordan want to make this move quickly here because we want to make the most of whilst his tyres are better than TV Buzz. Because as we know, the hard tyres later on in the stint do tend to fight back. And we see Joe Louis coming into the pits, so is Salates and Berzer as well in the pits. So a few drivers more coming into the pits here. And hard tyres going on for all of those guys. Jordan makes that move on TV Buzz. So does Joe Louis. Although Joe Louis, it's not done. In fact, Joe Louis backed out of it there, going into turn 1. So I thought that he managed to get the jump there after he'd come out, but he actually lost out there to Ev the Legend and TV Buzz. So Joe Louis down to P8. I thought for a second he'd just come out ahead of them there, but didn't quite work out there for the McLaren. But Jordan Hillier, running in P5, can now try to extend out that DRS range here to TV Buzz and try and chase the drivers up ahead on his fresh medium tyres. Needs to make the most of these faster tyres during this stint, because he'll have to put the slower ones on. The more durable compound, the hards, towards the end. Speaking of the more durable compound, Richie Chapper started on these hard tyres and is now breezing past his teammate here into turn 1. His teammate who started on the mediums now starting to struggle at this point in the stint. Richie there made that move look very easy, and Schumacher, the only other driver other than Shane to start on the mediums who's still out there, running in 3rd place, 18 seconds behind. To be fair, Shane's done brilliantly to get these medium tyres this far into the race, but had nothing to offer his teammate there. And the Williams drivers looking in cruise control so far here in this Tier 3 for this Torque Titans Racing League this season. They seem to be a step above the rest so far. We see Manic Memory there's moved ahead of Schumacher up into the podium places. So on those slightly fresher hard tyres, obviously they've got a lot more mileage in them as well. As TV Buzz here has got Ev the Legend and Joe Louis pretty close to him. I think Joe Louis has been passed by... No, he hasn't. He was behind Ev the Legend before, so he hasn't been passed by him. But Joe Louis will be wanting to clear this traffic as soon as possible because he's on much fresher tyres than these guys ahead, so he won't be wanting to waste any time trying to clear them. He'll be wanting to get on with this ASAP if he possibly can. In the meantime, Joe Louis now pretty much on the rear end here of Ev the Legend as we see Schumacher into the pits here at the end of lap 12. But here we go then. It's going to be an easy move here for Joe Louis on the fresher tyres, and can now try and pull up on TV Buzz, who's just about a second up the road here. And at the moment TV Buzz doesn't have DRS so on the car in front of him, so Joe Louis should be able to capitalise on that. But I think a little bit too far back down towards the chicane on this particular lap, and we'll probably have to wait until the start finish straight to make that move. As Richie's still got the gap at 2 seconds over Shade at the moment. Manic Memories running in 3rd place. But it's Manic Memory in striking distance to be able to take the lead of the race once these guys come in. This is going to tell us, because Shane was 2 seconds behind his teammate when he came in, so if Manic Memory comes out more than 2 seconds ahead of Shane, then we know that Manic Memory is the net race leader. Shane's off and away. Manic Memory's coming over the line now. There is Shane just coming to the pit exit. Manic Memory's well off in the distance, so Manic Memory, I think, is almost definitely the net race leader here. The gap was 2 seconds between Richie and Shane. Shane is 5 seconds behind Manic Memory, 5-6 seconds behind him. So Manic Memory definitely the net race leader at this stage in the race. Shane comes out just ahead of Jordan. That was a good time to come in for Shane. That was going to be one more lap and he'd have been in traffic there. So he made the right decision coming into the pits. There did Shane. As Jam there's got a 3-second penalty. But Jordan there running just ahead of Joe Louis, TV Buzz. And Jordan is back, is at DRS straight now of Joe Louis once again here. See Zainu here trying to pull up onto the back of Jam. In the background there's Dave looking pretty racy here on these guys as well. Into the stadium they come once again. What's Zainu got here to offer Jam as they come down the start finish straight here with DRS. The Alpine's getting closer and closer to the back of Jam here. Down towards turn 1 they come once again on the inside. Zainu there's going to have that move done here into turn 1. Excellent stuff there from Zainu. That's Dave here, is knocking on the door of P10. These guys, Jam and Dave, on pretty similar age tyres. Jam with a 3-second penalty. But Dave seems to have a bit more confidence right now at this point in the stint. I'm sure he's going to be pretty eager to get on with this here, because the likes of Salates and Zainu just up the road. So here comes Dave up the inside into the stadium. And he's not going to wait until the DRS zone, I don't think. He's going to try and get the move done here and now. Around the outside into the stadium section we go, and Dave here is going to have this move done. But the thing is though, if he's behind the detection point, or if he's ahead of the detection point, then he'll be pretty vulnerable here down the straight. And he waits, smartly there from Dave, waits for the opportunity down the start finish straight to make the move. Here we go with DRS, and this should be pretty routine here for Dave. Up into P10 he goes, as we see Salates there fighting it out with Ev the Legend for 7th place. Up into 7th place there goes Salates. Dave here and Jam are still side by side here coming through turn 2, but Dave does have that one done. And Salates is going to consolidate that P7 here with DRS and pulls away from Ev the Legend going into the chicane, as Zainu will now look to try and apply the pressure here on the Mercedes. Joe Louis still on the back of Shane right now in the battle for 3rd place as well. So race leader Richie Chapper currently 19 seconds ahead of Manic Memory on the hard tyres, but he's only done 5 more laps on these tyres than Manic Memory has. So obviously Manic Memory came in very early on those medium tyres, got a bit of an undercut, but at this point in the stint it doesn't appear that he's really got much of a pace advantage at all, if any. They seem pretty even at the moment, despite Manic Memory being on 5 lap pressure tyres. So Richie Chapper could do a pit stop and come out ahead at this point. I'm pretty sure that Richie's 2-stopping, whereas Manic Memory, I don't know. Maybe, no, surely not what now. There's no way Manic Memory is one stopping. So definitely on a two stop at least. But Richie could be doing a one stop here. Richie could well be doing a one stop. If he can get these tyres to about lap, I want to say lap 22 maybe, we could be looking at a one stop here. Manic Memory minimum two stop, as Shane here on the fresh hard tyres getting around the outside very easily indeed there on Manic Memory. And that's Richie's teammate here who moves up into P2. So Joe Louis here waiting behind him now as well. 5 lap fresher tyres here for Joe Louis. And Manic Memory's tyres are going to be starting to feel the pace. Richie still pumping in the lap times out the front. Despite having done 17 laps on these hard tyres, he started the race on them, still hasn't pitted in this race yet. Manic Memory's got DRS here on Shane down towards turn 1. Looking to the outside here, trying to get around the outside if he can. That's not going to happen, not around there. Not around the outside of Shane. As we now go back to Joe Louis, who's looking to the outside. Can he make this move on Manic Memory? As he's well alongside, around the outside, just ahead here, coming into the braking zone. But Manic Memory goes a little bit late on the brakes there and just forces Joe Louis to compromise a little bit there on the exit of the corner. And Manic Memory for the time being clinging on to that third place. Hard but fair racing there from Manic Memory, keeps the position, but that's lost these two a bit of time here to Shane as a result of that. Race leader continues on for at least another lap here. I've said if he gets to lap 22, the one stopper could be on. I stand by that. But Joe Louis has got back ahead of Manic Memory here and is battle for third place. Thing is though, he's going to be giving away the DRS down the start-finish straight, so that could have been not the wisest of moves there from Joe Louis. Although saying that, Manic Memory gets a horrible twitch there out of the final corner, which would have compromised his ability to stay close to the McLaren. And that has stopped him from being able to challenge here into turn 1. So Joe Louis for the time being comfortable there into turn 1. Let's see what can happen down the straight into the chicane. You can see Manic Memory's tyres visibly worse off than the car in front. And he's not able to do anything there. So Joe Louis got that one done there into third place. But has lost about 2 seconds to Shane whilst being stuck behind the Haas. So Shane looking a lot more comfortable there in P2 than what he was. He's gaining on his teammate. And Shane is currently well within undercut range of Richie at this point. I suppose the big question now, can Shane go to the end? Because if Shane can go to the end, then he's looking alright here, because he'll get the lead once Richie comes in. Richie will be on the medium tyres. And so far, on the evidence that I've seen, it definitely looks like the hard tyre is better than the medium. After about 5 or 6 laps, the medium seems to have had it, and the hards becomes the better tyre out of the two. So I'm thinking Richie puts the medium tyres on maybe lap 22. He'll start off closing in on Shane. He might be on the back of him, but at some point in that stint, the mediums will just be shot to pieces, and Shane's tyres will get that second win relative to Richie's, and I reckon Shane will have the advantage in the closing stages. I don't know. That's just my theory at this point. But we see Salates there moving ahead of TV. Buzz up into P5 into turn 1. Looking in the background here, we've got Dave pretty close on Ev the Legend as well, but just a bit too far back into turn 1. Schumacher here trying to pull up onto the back of Jam in the fight for P10 as well. But we've got an exciting battle on our hands here for P1 as Manic Memory picking up yet another penalty here. Manic Memory racking up those penalties for fun at this point. And it's not been the night at all here for Manic Memory, you have to say. The TV Buzz there picking up a 3-second time penalty there for track limits. Gap currently 15 seconds between Richie and Shane, so Shane well within undercut now, or well within striking distance of his teammate once Richie comes into the pits to make what looks like it's going to be one pit stop here in this race. As Manic Memory coming into the pits to get those 14 lap old hard tyres off, and I would assume Another set of hard tyres to go to the end of the race from here. Yep, indeed. Schumacher closing up onto the back of Jam in this fight for 9th place. Manic Memory still not too far away from Jordan in 11th and 12th. Tigers keeping Berza honest in the battle for 13th as well. But Schumacher here on the 6 lap pressure tyres. Then Jam. This should be a formality here as they come out of the final corner. He's getting closer and closer with DRS and Slipstream. And this is going to be a move into turn 1 surely for Schumacher. Although I tell you what, Jam's got good straight line speed and holding his ground there on the inside as we see Jam trying to Schumacher trying to go around the outside of Jam. Oh, and there's contact there, and Jam and Schumacher's round. Jam there held his line on the inside. Schumacher losing out there to Manic Memory and Jordan. Schumacher down to 12th place in that one. Oh, what a nightmare there for Schumacher. So Jam able to continue on his way. And Schumacher down to 12th place there in that one, so that's gone horribly wrong there for Schumacher. We see Manic Memory with a 3-second penalty as well. Oh, Schumacher though tried to go around the outside and it didn't work out. Jam was hell-bent on keeping that inside line, and there was a bit of contact. Hard to know who was at fault from that angle, to be honest with you, but I'm sure the stewards will have a say on that one. But it looked like a bit of 50-50 from my point of view, but I'm sure one side was probably more to blame than the other, and we'll have to wait and see what the stewards think on that one. But TV buzz into the pits, so is Ev the Legend. As Manic Memory sets the fastest lap of the race there, a 1:18.7. We see Jam also into the pits here after that contact. See Schumacher continuing on there in P9. Doesn't look like there's damage on the car, it was just a spin. The part of the car which is so vulnerable to those types of things. There's a point on the car where if you hit it, the thing will pirouette. Doesn't matter if it's light contact, doesn't matter if it doesn't cause damage. If you hit a certain part of the car, that's it, it's see you later. And unfortunately for Schumacher, I think that part of the car was hit, but nonetheless we see Ev the Legend moving ahead of Berza up into 12th place. Berza on his 12 lap old hard tyres. I think that's Berza's AI in the car. I don't want to say it is, but the ghosting makes me think it must be. But we go back to the leaders here because Shane has closed in absolutely hand over fist on his teammate Richie, who is still yet to pit here in this race. Richie has gone 23 laps on these hard tyres. We see Joe Louis, Salates, Manic Memory has just been in a couple of laps ago, he's got the undercut on them. But we see Zainu and Dave as well coming into the pits. These guys have all done 2 stops, and this driver here, Shane, or rather Richie, sorry, has done the entire race so far without pitting. So, absolutely unbelievable drive so far from Richie. They were 24 seconds ahead of the nearest driver as well, so Richie can come in, get a fresh set of mediums on, and will have no traffic when he tries to hunt down his teammate. He'll have 12 laps on 10 lap pressure tyres. This could be an absolutely fascinating finish to this race. We're going to have Richie hunting down his teammate in closing laps of the race, but he'll have about 22 seconds to try and make up here. So Richie coming into the pits, and this is going to be very exciting indeed. Shane on much older tyres. Richie's going to be on the far less durable tyre, but 11 laps fresher. So, I mean, what's going to happen here? We just don't know. But nonetheless, Jordan on the back of Manic Memory. 3 lap older tyres Jordan's got than Manic Memory, but he's got determination. Let's see if that can make the difference here, as we see both of them here having to avoid Richie. So in fact, Richie didn't have a pit stop to these guys, so he's come out just behind Jordan and Richie. That will derail his chances to try and chase after his teammate a little bit here. He's going to have to negotiate a little bit of traffic here as Richie, and these two guys are battling over second place, so it's not like he's just going to get waved by. They're battling over a podium tonight, are these guys. So there's a lot at stake here for these drivers in front of him, as we see Manic Memory a bit wide there coming out of the chicane. We've got Joe Louis in the background here trying to bring himself into this fight, potentially on fresher tyres than the likes of Manic Memory and Jordan. So Manic Memory here with Jordan reading him in with DRS. Richie's going to be up the inside of Jordan here, I think, into turn 1. Is it going to be job done? His fresher tyres not working out for him there into turn 1 this time around. Jordan clinging on to that one. The more time that Richie spends behind these guys, the less chance he's going to have to be able to try and go after his teammate here. Now Richie switches to the outside here on Jordan Hillier. Is going to try and go late on the brakes, but nowhere to go there around the outside. Jordan closes that door very firmly indeed. See Manic Memory again struggling on the exit of that chicane. Seems to be struggling with a bit of understeer. And no surprise there, Manic Memory getting another 3-second time penalty. I mean, we can see the track limits being abused here. And he's still just ahead of these guys, but I'll tell you what, Jordan and Richie. Well, Richie, he's going to be frustrated here, I'll tell you that. He's got the pace. Oh, it's Manic Memory's lost it there going into the stadium section, and that promotes Jordan up into second place for the time being. Now Richie's going to have a free crack here at Jordan, and he has to get this move done now if he wants any chance of chasing after his teammate in these closing laps. Here goes Richie. 23 seconds to overhaul in 9 laps. He'd have to have 3 seconds a lap on average over these next 9 laps. I don't think that's going to be possible. I think Richie is going to have to settle for second place here tonight. Jordan there down to third. Now his target's got to be to try and keep Joe Louis at bay. In the background here you've got TV Buzz looking up the inside of Schumacher into turn 1, but a little bit too far away. Schumacher, I tell you what, he's going to be ruining that contact earlier on, which was no fault of his own, but he's going to be ruining that contact a few laps ago, which knocked him well out of the position. As we see Schumacher there losing out to TV Buzz, who's up the inside up into P6 there. Manic Memory has got another 3-second time penalty, so that has gone absolutely Pete Tong there for the Haas driver tonight. We see Joe Louis, who's trying his best here to force the issue with Jordan for the podium positions. Zai News moved ahead of Manic Memory up into 9th place as well. He's going backwards, isn't he, Manic Memory? It seems to all be falling apart here towards the end of the race. The penalties, the positions, everything is going wrong for him at the moment as we go back to battle for the podium places, because Joe Louis is on the inside here and it's going to make this move on Jordan down the start finish straight. Easy pickings there, and the McLaren is up into 3rd place. Schumacher coming into the pits here at the end of lap 27, and so is Manic Memory as well, to get, I assume, some damage fixed. Oh, another 10-second penalty for Manic Memory. He's going to be looking at a DQ and a retirement. I'm not surprised. He throws in the towel. I mean, to be fair, he probably would have been dropping down to last with all those penalties, so I'm not surprised that he decided to quit. As Dave here is on the back of Zainu at the moment in this battle for 7th place. These guys on pretty similar age tyres, but Zainu on the hards, so we're getting to that sort of crossover point where the hards are probably the more favourable tyre. But what can Dave throw at Zainu here? With the DRS as well, potentially playing into his hands as they come out of the final corner here to complete lap 28 of the race. I think it's a bit too far back to really put him under any serious pressure going into turn 1. And yeah, he's definitely a bit too far back here into turn 1. Actually, I'll tell you what, he really gained down the straight there. He's going to look around the outside. Wow, unbelievable. I couldn't possibly have envisaged him having a chance there into turn 1, but the straight line speed there was absolutely incredible. And Zainu just about held on there through those few corners, but Dave, I tell you what, he was unbelievably quick there down the straight. Almost made that move around the outside into turn 1, but Zainu clings on for the time being. We see Tiger is up into 12th. That's because Night Fury's come into the pits and is now back out onto the track there, just behind Cutters, who moves into 13th place for the time being. But Shane's gap to Richie, 17 seconds. The gap's coming down rapidly, but is it too little too late for Richie? I think it might well be. 7 laps left in the race. If Richie gains about 2.5 seconds a lap, he'll be on him at the end, but he'll have to average that. And obviously the medium tyres are going to be going off much quicker than the hard tyres, so I don't know if Richie can do it. I think Shane should be pretty comfortable in that. The difference could have been Richie coming out behind Joe and Jordan. That could have been the difference here. As we see Salates here attacking on Jordan in the battle for 4th place. He'll have DRS now down towards the chicane. Jordan's going to try and defend. In fact, he doesn't need to because he's far enough ahead here, going into the corner for the time being. And Salates is going to have to wait a little bit longer here in this battle for 4th place. In the background there, TV Buzz isn't too far away, but with a penalty. So that will obviously come back to bite him at the end of the race. Dave here still trying to force the issue here with Zainu for 7th place. And we see Night Fury there's moved ahead of Cutters up into 13th place as they go into turn 1. But start of lap 31, closing stages here for the Mexico City Grand Prix here at the Torque Titans Racing League Tier 3 here tonight. We see Salates here now all over the back of Jordan. TV Buzz is now right there with these guys as well. So Salates will be eager to get on with this to avoid being hunted down by the Hats right behind them. But here is Salates here up the inside of Jordan into turn 1, and this is going to be a routine move here for the Ferrari up into 4th place. And he needed to make that move as soon as possible because TV Buzz is closing on these guys quite quickly at this point. That was a crucial move there for the Ferrari. TV Buzz here definitely reeling in Jordan Hill here at the moment. Look at this, he's well within a second as they come into the stadium section once again. TV Buzz was reeling in these guys in when they were battling, but has continued to gain hand over fist. 5 lap pressure tyres here than the Alpine driver. I fear that Jordan may be losing another position here at the beginning of lap 32. Here we go then. 5 laps left to go here in this Mexico City Grand Prix. TV Buzz to the inside. Jordan's got good straight line speed, and he's got a slipstream here off of Salates as well, which is really helping him. And TV Buzz up the inside had to go late on the brakes there, had to really force it to try and make it work here. He's going to now get a move potentially down this little second straight here. Jordan still with slipstream, but no DRS on Salates, but his straight line speed is coming in an absolute treat here at the moment, and Jordan keeping himself in the hunt here. Is Salates there tried to send one up the inside, and the door was not open there. Jordan Hillier saying absolutely not, and for the time being is clinging on to this 5th place by the skin of his teeth. TV Buzz tried it, couldn't quite make it work. Jordan for the time being hanging on by the skin of his teeth to 5th place. Gap in the meantime at the front still continuing to come down, but not by anywhere near enough. Shane has got this one in hand as long as he doesn't bin it into the barriers in these final 4 laps of the race. His teammate running in a very healthy 2nd place, but not making an impression. Joe Louis not far behind Richie, I have to say. So Richie on the medium tyres. Joe Louis could have a chance if Richie's tyres start to go off in these closing laps, especially with how hard he's probably been pushing. So the battle for 2nd place certainly not over at this point. But TV Buzz looking at the inside here into turn 1, and ended up actually ghosting through Jordan there because of the overspeed he was carrying into the corner, as he's now looking to try and get a run down towards the chicane. Again, Jordan with that straight line speed is able to stay ahead despite the fact that the car behind's got him DRS. He's looking around the outside here of TV Buzz. He still can't make that move on Jordan. Jordan is standing his ground brilliantly, and despite being right up the gearbox there of that Alpine, TV Buzz still cannot make that move. He would need to be pretty much like lassoed to the back of that car out the final corner, and then he'd need to quickly untie it and then slingshot him down the straight to make that move. I can't envisage any other way that he could do it. It's just got nothing to work with at the moment. Everything he tries, he could be right on the back of him, but Jordan's straight line speed is making it impossible for the Haas to do anything about him. As here they come then, out of the final corner once again. TV Buzz with the slipstream. Jordan Hillier weaving around trying to break the toe if he can. But TV Buzz too far back here as they come down towards turn 1 once again. And nothing doing there for him. As Night Fury still on the back of Tiger at this point in the fight for P12. As they're coming through the stadium once again. So Night Fury could well be on for a P12 here. 4 lap fresher tyres, fast and medium tyres. Here comes Night Fury in the slipstream with the DRS, with the overspeed, and it's going to be an easy move here, and the Ferrari moves up into 12th place there, coming down towards turn 1, and that was an easy move there from Night Fury. Joe Louis still attacking on Richie as they come through the exit of the stadium section now. So the hard tyres really starting to come into their own as they start the penultimate lap. This could be a move here for 2nd place, and this could thwart the 1-2 that the Williams team have so diligently sought after here tonight. But Joe Louis too far back here into turn 1. Richie's going to hold on to that one quite comfortably for the time being. TV Buzz still pretty close on Jordan down towards turn 1, but still too far back with that straight line speed that Alpine's got. He just can't get himself close enough. I reckon we're going to see a similar story down towards the chicane once again here. TV Buzz, is he going to try and send it on the brakes? That's got to be his only option here. Jordan again expertly squeezing him to the inside, giving him no room to work with. The racecraft from Jordan has been absolutely sublime in these closing laps of the race, and he just needs to get himself around a lap and a half more, but he's now got Zainu, who is looming large in the mirrors. He's waiting in the wings, ready to pounce, Oh, as TV Buzz hits the back of Jordan there and loses a bit of his front wing as a result. Now he's got DRS down towards the stadium section, but Jordan's on the inside still. TV Buzz swoops around the outside. Jordan might not know that TV Buzz has got front wing damage. There was definitely a piece of carbon fibre coming off the front end of that car. Jordan's now got a 3-second time penalty. He's not going to be happy at all with the conduct of TV Buzz there going through that part of the track. In the meantime, Joe Louis is making the move here on Richie Chapper into turn 1, and he's got that one done there up into second place. So Joe Louis on the final lap of the race has gone and thwarted the Williams team's 1-2 as Jordan back up into the... Oh my goodness me! What is going on? The two drivers have taken each other out there before they even got to the corner. TV Buzz and Zainu. It wasn't Jordan, it was TV Buzz and Zainu. I thought he was battling with it was the other Alpine there, Zainu. So Jordan continues on his merry way and is going to be bringing it home in P5. But TV Buzz and Zainu crashing into each other down the straight on the final lap of the race. As well, the yellow flags have already subsided, so we're going to have a racing lap for the final lap, despite two cars being parked on the main straight. I suppose it's after the finish line. So, but anyway, Spion is right behind Cutters in the fight for 14th place as they come down the straight. In the meantime, though, we've got to go to Shane because Shane's coming over the line, and Shane has taken the win here tonight for the Mexico City Grand Prix. What a dominant performance from him, and drove away in the closing stages. Joe Louis takes second place with Richie over to complete the podium, the pole sitter there. So Shane makes it a magnificent double here tonight, a sprint and Grand Prix double here for the opening round of the season for Tier 3 for the Torque Titans Racing League, as Solates there takes fourth place ahead of Jordan Hillier, who brings it home in P5, surviving that onslaught there. We saw the other two taking each other out, but Ev the Legend comes over the line. Schumacher gets P6 on the penalties. Ev the Legend 7th. Dave over in 8th ahead of Jam, who is in 9th. Night Fury and Tiger are going to battle it out to the line here. Night Fury made that move on Tiger a couple of laps ago, but Tiger on the hard tyres has managed to stay close. The hard tyres do tend to come back at the mediums towards the end, but I think Night Fury is going to hold on for P10 and takes the final point there. So Night Fury P10, Tiger over in 11th place. Cutters will be next over the line as they're coming into the final section here, Cutters and Spion. It's going to be 12th and 13th places for the Sauber drivers as they come around the final corner, and Berza rounds up the classification there in P14. But that is the race here for tonight. And that was a great night of racing action here for the Torque Titans Racing League. Thanks guys for having me tonight. It was a pleasure covering it, and I should be around next Sunday if you need me. I don't know if you'll need me, but if you do, then you know where I am. But thanks everybody for checking this out. Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me commentate on the race. And yeah, cheers.